And that's how I got into a fight with the Elvis impersonator. Or we record. Hello, and welcome. Thank you for joining us once again on this, the 59th episode of Drunk Doctor Who, discussing the 59th serial of Doctor Who.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Gambe.
Let's introduce ourselves.
I'm Hatter, this is Holden.
Who am I this week?
You're an Elvis impersonator.
Was I running?
You're a lesbian Elvis impersonator.
Oh, Paul Rudd. I'm Paul Rudd this week.
No. Titus's father's gonna hit on you while you're getting him married.
Who? What?
It's a joke. There's a comedian, his name's Titus.
Titus.
Yeah. And
Titus.
no, Titus, like the name of the Bible.
Ah.
And his father was getting married for like the 4th time in Vegas by an lesbian Elvis impersonator whom he hit on. Oh, crap, I forgot my phone. Is your phone out there?
Sure.
I watched the video lately. You took your phone out of your pocket, you put it between the cushions. Give me your phone.
Here you go.
I've been catching up on the videos. I'm only 2 back now. So.
Oh, I have the link dumps all written up. I just need to figure out where we're going to post them. Either the video description or like a pinned top comment. That way you can check out all the links to all the topics that we drunkenly discuss. And we're very inebriated. And you're watching the podcast and you go, what on earth are they talking about? And then you can read. Oh, that's what they're talking about. I'll post a link to it. And those should be up soon, either in the video description or the pinned top comment. Probably video description, maybe. That might be easiest.
What?
Talking about the link dump. Adding links to all the off-topic things we talk about when we're drunkenly rambling. Yeah, I have them all written up. I just need to figure out if we're gonna put them in the video descriptions or like a pinned top comment, whichever's easiest.
Probably the video descriptions.
Yeah. Because that always stays consistent. It's like a thing on YouTube that everyone likes to make fun of, that YouTube's always changing their comment section and how it works. So what people do are like pinning top comments, but sometimes they'll move around and
disappear.
Yeah. So the video descriptions are very consistent though. They never really change.
True. Alright. What are you drinking this week?
This week, I made a great choice and also a grave mistake drinking twisted tea.
Out of a box.
Out of a box. Box wine, twisted tea. Great investment. Good value for your money. Buy in bulk, kids.
Hey, I'm drinking peppermint schnapps.
Yeah, I think I'm going to start bringing something stronger. I think I've tried it before.
I think so.
It smells like Christmas. Used to have like a peppermint stick garnish for it.
I went on keto today, so I can't do that.
Is peppermint not on keto?
No, the sugar's
maybe like a
I'm getting
peppermint,
pretty tubby.
peppermint leaf.
Yeah. Okay. So, alright. So this week, the Daemons. DAE with the AE from Old English being combined. I think it was a Old English letter or a Gaelic letter or something like that. It used to be in common use, relatively common use, several hundred years ago. It's gone out of fashion in favor of just the E. So today we have the word demons instead of daemons. But this one uses the old thing. And
like
it's kind of, right. Aether or ether. And so instead of the AE, which is how we say it, you've got A for A and E for E, and you say Daemons. So it's kind of an A into the E. So when they did it and put it together, that particular sound in English, it was an A and an E combined. This is how it's on that print, and that's how it is traditionally, with a big A and a big E combined. But yeah, the Daemons. It's hard to do that on a typewriter these days, or a computer.
Yeah, it's like an alt code. You have to hold down alt and press in like 3 numbers on the pad just to get to it.
Yeah.
Special characters.
You're a special character. Right.
Hey, thank you.
You're welcome.
Wait a minute.
Alright, anyway, so this serial is 5 episodes. And today for us is November 16th, 2020. We're still in the dreaded 2020.
Not for much longer.
Yeah.
It's the holiday spirit.
These ran from May 22nd, 1971 to June 19th, 1971.
From Savannah, what's her face?
Savannah?
From the...
Vanna White.
Vanna White. That's who I am.
Okay, anyway.
3 E's. That's the best job. You just have to be very attractive to.
She was really pretty. She probably still is really pretty.
Yeah, I've seen that show. Right. Alex Trebek just passed away.
Yeah, he did.
Or not yet. He just
passed away.
Yeah, cancer.
Yeah, he was 80 years old.
Yeah.
So, rest in peace, Sean Connery. Rest in peace, Alex Trebek.
Here's to
Connery and Trebek.
My childhood.
Your childhood. Wait, when you were a kid, Sean Connery was already like 70.
I could still watch old movies.
Yeah.
It's still part of my childhood.
Alright, so companions, Joe Grant, the Brigadier, Sergeant Benton, the antagonist, the Daemons. Well, Daemon, there's only one of them at this point. And the Master.
And Minions.
Minions.
Do you know the gargoyle's
name? Huh?
The gargoyle's name was Buck.
Buck.
B-O-K.
Buck. Alright. So,
I don't know why his name is Buck, but that's what it said on the subtitles.
Alright, we like to watch with the subtitles. Sometimes the accents are a little thick.
That's the best way to get all their names. Because some people have like script credited roles, but they never actually say the character's name. So the only way to get their name is when it says who's speaking in the subtitles. Because they get the...
So that's the Daemon. That's the doctor tied up with Mayday.
Pecking.
Yeah, Mayday ribbons. And that's the Master, who's the bad guy in this.
The Magister.
Okay. He calls himself Mr. Magister, and he's a vicar, if you can believe it. He's pretending to be a vicar. Vicar,
Reverend Magister. It's 3 titles.
Well, no, Magister was his name, Mr. Magister. But
Vicar, I thought Vicar was his...
Vicar's the title.
Reverend...
No, Vicar's the
was
title.
his name, okay. Vicar, Reverend, Magister.
No, it's just Vicar.
Let's see, but he's wearing the Reverend clothes. He was the Vicar Reverend named Magister. Because it...
Yeah, more or less.
Hawthorne called him Vicar Reverend.
I could see that.
What's a vicar?
Vicar is basically a British reverend in the Church of England.
Oh, Reverend. Oh, so they're interchanging Reverend and Vicar. So it's Vicar Magister, Reverend Magister.
Right, and Vicar might be a step up from a Reverend. I'm not 100% sure. Okay. Never having been a member of the Church of England or studied it extensively. So we start out. Okay, episode 1. Oh, but 5 episodes, like I said, and this is the last.
Put your hand here.
What?
Put your hand here. Put it on this one. Does it feel like one of those? You know when you go bowling and your hands are sweaty, you put your hand over the vent?
Yeah. Okay.
Episode 1.
This is the last odd-numbered number of episode serials for about 10 years. Forever. Until the 6th Doctor, 3 Doctors hence, when we have the 3-parter, the 2 Doctors with the 2nd Doctor.
So Doctors last about 3 seasons?
On average. There's a Doctor or 2 that were only a season, Eccleston, and
and one
the 8th Doctor was just a TV
a special
movie. Yeah. TV movie, and much later, a single 10-minute special.
The War Doctor?
Well, when he transformed into the War Doctor.
The 10-minute special was a different actor?
No, same actor. Cool. Same actor.
He's such a cool-looking guy. I'm sad he's not on this poster.
McGann. He is not the War Doctor.
Yeah, the War Doctor.
But McGann's right there, yeah.
Who plays the War Doctor?
John Hurt.
What else is he in? He looks super familiar.
Alien?
Maybe that's where I recognize him from.
Okay. He was in a lot of stuff.
I still haven't seen the second Alien.
Oh, Aliens.
Aliens.
Yeah. And that's where you stop. Stop at that one. You're good.
Are there more than Aliens?
There's about 6, but they get really crappy after Alien.
What do they call the next one?
Alien Cubed. Alien.
Squared.
Aliens. Alien Cubed.
Is it really?
Yeah.
I thought you were joking.
No. Alien Resurrection. Prometheus. And Alien Covenant.
That's a lot.
I think was the last one. Yeah, after the it's like the Terminator movies. After the second one, they're crappy.
Alien versus Predator.
Yeah, there's Alien versus Predator. I think there's a second one of those too. But
Aliens versus Predators.
No, it's just bad. All right.
It has Arnold Schwarzenegger in it.
No, Schwarzenegger's never been in any of the Alien movies.
The Alien versus Predator, I thought. Maybe it's.
No, he was in Predator.
Oh, regular Predator movie. Oh, okay. Cool.
This is why I drink.
I have no idea. Because of me.
Alcohol, the source of and solution to all of our problems. Alright, so basically the gist of this is that there's an archaeological dig in a town area, a town called Devil's End.
Where the devil humped.
Well, yeah, there's a particular borough called the Devil's Hump. And in this borough, they're going through, and there's this archaeologist who wants to open it up because he believes it's going to be the burial site of a warrior king from 800-900 BC. I think 800 BC.
Lots of gold inside.
Yeah, I don't know how he came up with that exactly. Maybe he followed clues on a map or something. But the place has been supposedly cursed forever. Place is supposed to have been cursed forever. Huh?
About to do a
Exorcist twist.
Yeah, what's the Nightmare Before Christmas? Jack Pumpkin King.
Oh, yeah.
Takes his head off.
Let's see. Yeah, see. But anyway, so the doctor at the very beginning.
We just lost our last 2 viewers. They're like, ugh.
Okay, so the doctor at the very beginning is not interested in the Devil's End stuff, in the excavation, but then he finds out at a place called Devil's End.
He starts connecting
dots, and he's like, holy crap, we've got to get down to Devil's End.
What's the holiday? Mayday?
Beltane.
Beltane, yeah.
Beltane is the ancient pagan holiday, and the modern version is May Day.
Used to keep my pants up.
Braces?
Belt.
Yeah, belt.
That's what I used to keep my teeth straight.
That's braces.
Yeah.
Well, no, the suspenders, if you clip them on, they're suspenders. If you button them in, they're braces.
There's some that, what do you call the ones that clip to your shirt and to your sock and keeps your socks pulled up and your shirt tucked in?
Garter.
Yeah, it's like an extended garter. I want to get some garters. My socks I have like the dress socks that go up there and they're always falling down.
Just get some really good nylon.
Elasticy, stretchy. Yeah, nylon.
What's it? No, there's a.
Is it not nylon?
There's a special type of fabric. I forget what it's called. I don't think it's nylon, but it's something.
Why don't we just get some like regular compression socks? It's good for being on your feet for a long time.
Aren't those good for like people with varicose veins?
It's good for a lot of things. I mean, just like general feet stress. Your feet are sore standing on your feet. Working. Okay. So a lot of nurses wear them because they're walking around a lot.
I can see that. I don't see fat nurses. I mean, they're moving all the time. They gotta be skinny. They get
hard
skinny.
on your feet.
Yeah. Okay, so anyway, the doctor's not interested in this until he finds out it's a Devil's End, and he's like, "We gotta go there now." He and Joe jump in Bessie.
Bessie.
But at the very beginning, Joe is talking about the age of Aquarius. Bell time. Well, she said about Mayday and some other stuff, and she said about magic, and the doctor's like, "You don't believe in all that stuff, do you?" And she's like, "Well, kinda." And then he gets Bessie to move around.
He treats her to a magic trick.
Yeah, he's got a remote control for his car, which is pretty darn good in the 1970s.
He was a time warp.
Yeah,
we're just now reaching that technology with Teslas.
But it's really cool that he does that. And she's not amused. But then Yates shows up, Corporal Yates, and they go off and they look about the dig, and the doctor figures out what's going on. And he and Joe jump in Bessie, and they run off, and they're trying to get to Devil's End.
Bessie's basically it.
Basically what?
I just said the name of it. Tesla. Would you ever get a Tesla?
I can't afford a Tesla. Are you kidding me?
Well, if our YouTube career takes off. A bunch of YouTubers got free Teslas because there's this program that you sign up for, and if enough people that buy Teslas say that they're recommended by you, then you get 100 signatures or forwards, then they give you a free Tesla. So these YouTubers that had like millions and millions of viewers, they put up their list, and then all the people that watched them that were rich enough to buy a Tesla, they were like, I'll put my name on the YouTubers list, and then you got like 100 signatures, and Tesla's like 100 people that bought Teslas, but
put your name down.
They're forwarded by you. Here's a free Tesla. So like all the major YouTubers just ended up with free Teslas.
I don't know. I mean, I guess I could. I've got a Ford Fusion hybrid. And that works pretty well.
I just think it'd be really cool to have a self-driving car. Eventually, at some point, the biggest issue with self-driving cars are going to be the not self-driving car.
Correct.
That's going to be the most dangerous thing on the road, or other people that are driving themselves.
Hopefully they're going to have roads for the self-driving cars and roads for the not self-driving cars.
That'd be cool.
Right.
Express lane.
That's fine.
Probably have to pay for it.
But I'll still stick in myself. The car I drive myself.
The government's going to take your money to build roads and charge you to drive on them.
To be fair, the road system is one of the few things that's constitutional.
Mm-hmm. But then taxation of the roads.
Well, yeah.
After being it's like taxing your taxes. The roads are paid for by your taxes.
Right.
And then they tax you to drive on those roads that your taxes paid for.
Tolls.
Yeah. Taxes.
Sometimes they do. You don't have to take those roads. You can take other roads. Those roads are just more convenient. And sometimes they only do those tolls until they pay for the road, and then they're done. Other times they do not.
A lot of the time they're like, the road's paid for, we'll keep the toll.
Yeah. Once you give the government money, they don't stop usually. Yeah.
There's no such thing as a shrinking.
There was a tax put on telegraph communications. Okay. Mm-hmm. To help pay for the Spanish-American War of 1812.
1812.
That was only repealed in the 1990s.
Finally.
Yeah.
Well, now that no one's using them.
Yeah, but yeah. Well, no, it had moved on to the cell phones or something. Yeah. It's one of those weird things that had stuck around. Because, like I said, once you add the tax or a government something, it
never goes away.
Almost never goes away. All right. Okay. So anyway,
that's our libertarian rant for this.
Remember, no politics. All right. All right. The doctor and Joe are trying to get to Devil's End. In the meantime, at Devil's End, there's the professor. What's his name? The archaeologist.
The professor.
Just the professor.
They referred to his name at one point. It started with like a G. I didn't get it.
Oh. Okay.
And then he died. I'm like, well, for sure they'll say his name. So I wrote down Professor G, and then they never said his name again.
Yeah. Oh. Okay. So there's like weird things happening in this town. A guy the night before was walking home in the rainstorm, and he died of fright. after his dog was murdered.
I got his name. His name was Jim. He died in the churchyard.
He died in the churchyard
of a heart attack.
in the rain of a heart attack of fright after his dog was murdered. Okay, so this lady, what's her name?
The White Witch.
The White Witch, yeah.
Hawthorne. The same name as Matthew Hawthorne's The Famous Witch Hunter. Is that ironic?
I didn't catch that part. Okay.
I thought maybe she was his ancestor.
Descendant,
yeah.
That would actually be funny.
That'd be alright because he is a witch hunter, and then it said
the descendant of his would be a witch.
Miss Hawthorne.
I think they named her ironically, but I doubt she's a descendant. But anyway, so she is bugging the professor, the archaeologist, not to open the deal. They're going to open it at midnight. April 30th, which is the very beginning of Beltane or May Day.
It's like, why? For
I've got a book coming out.
Of course.
It's like, well, shameless capitalist plug. That's awesome.
She's like, I've read the runes. You can't do that.
You're right.
Well, how do you know? She's like, I'm a witch. A white witch, of course. So like the Wizard of Oz, the good witch of the West.
Yep. So the speaking of which, the Brigadier uses the term "it's gone west" when we would normally use the term "it's gone south," or more PC these days, "it's gone sideways."
I didn't know that there's a politically correct.
Well, the traditionals, it's gone south, I guess, because the south was traditionally bad.
Oh, okay.
But the more modern term is "it's gone sideways."
I had never made that connection. I didn't know the origin of the.
I don't know, but with him, it's gone west. So I wonder how bad the west is for the people in Britain. Maybe they were talking about Ireland. I don't know. Maybe they were just talking about Wales. I don't know. But he used the term "it's gone west."
The Americas.
Not that far west. Well, maybe. I don't know the origin. But if you are British and you're watching this show, could you tell us the origin of that term? Because that would be fantastic. Put it in the comments.
It's gone America.
It's gone America. I can understand where that would come from. But I don't know if you're talking about Ireland or Wales or the U.S. or what have you. But I would be very curious to know.
I'm going to start saying things have gone east.
Gone east? That would go right there with gone sideways. So anyway, supernatural forces seem to be happening in Devil's End, like that wind that comes up, and the Bobby picks up the rock and he's gonna bash in the white Miss Hawthorne's brains in, and she quells the wind with incantations, and then he calms down and she turns around and says, "You're alright?" And he's holding this giant rock he was gonna bash her brains in with. He's holding it above her head just before then.
Never really explained that.
Well, devilish forces, you know? I mean, supernatural. I mean, that's what she's talking about. So it also seems that these devilish forces don't want the Doctor and Joe to get to Devil's End because it turns one of the signposts around so they go the other way.
The whole serial was a very Scooby-Doo Halloween special. Scooby-Doo. The wind's blowing the signposts around, so you go there on the wrong road.
It doesn't help she was reading the map upside down.
That was just a whole lot of like slapstick.
Yeah, lots of Scooby-Doo. So, anyway.
It was fun. It was a fun serial.
It was. It's a very good serial. It's a classic serial.
Yeah. One that
very highly thought of, and like I said, there are two sequels.
Sub-canon.
I have.
What are they called? Apocrypha.
Let's see. Here we go.
Daemons Rising.
Daemons Rising.
Do they spell? Oh yeah, there you go.
Daemons.
We should watch those next Halloween.
Well, I haven't seen these yet because they're all the third-party stuff. I need to watch them, but currently I'm catching up on our old episodes. Daemons of Devil's End.
Oh, look how old she is.
Yeah, it's the same lady, really old. But the White Witch of Devil's End and the Return to Devil's End. So I think the Return to Devil's End is a documentary about the serial because it's so popular, and I think Daemons of Devil's End and the White Witch of Devil's End are the two deals, or maybe Daemons of Devil's End is just the name, and the White Witch Devil's End is the only sequel, and that's the deal. So it may just be the one sequel.
We'll find out eventually.
The White Witch of Devil's End. Well, I'm gonna watch it here eventually.
We'll find out eventually.
Okay.
I feel like Halloween would be a good time to watch that.
I'll probably watch it before then. I mean, it's bloody November. I don't want to wait 11 months.
No. Well, I forgot how we set up our watching schedule.
Okay, you and I will watch it in the appropriate time frame. But I'm talking about me before that.
Oh,
because I need to watch all the third-party stuff.
That's whatever.
Okay, so anyway, the Doctor and Joe make it to Devil's End. Just a bit. No, they make it to Devil's End just a bit before midnight.
Oh, the bar.
The pub, yeah. The Doctor can't get anybody to actually give him directions. And then Joe asks nicely, and she's given directions by the Squire. And then they head off to Devil's Hump. In the meantime, it is exposed that the Master is the Vicar, and he calls himself Mr. Magister, which is Latin for Master. But you're like, oh, great, this guy again.
Elementals, my dear.
He does say that at one point.
They pull off the mask. It was the Master the whole time. I would have gotten away with it too if it
weren't for you darn kids. Alright, so you know if they did a Scooby-Doo episode, I would laugh.
Like a crossover episode?
No, just an episode in the complete intonation of Scooby-Doo, where they actually said that line. I would have gotten away with it too if it weren't for you darn kids.
Like when the Doctor looked at the camera and was like, and a Merry Christmas to you viewers at home.
It's only happened once. Anyway, so
I like how they're like, we have to retake that, and he's like, nah.
No, we're not redoing that.
That's the take. That's the rep.
Okay, so
they could have just cut that out, but they didn't. They left it in.
They kind of had to. They had to do the ending, and they needed that for the ending.
You could still kind of edit film.
They were no film. They were using videotape. Remember, which is why they were only allowed a couple of edits whatsoever. Which is why they had to leave in stuff they didn't want to leave in back then. We only got
all of Hartnell's flubs.
Right. We only got to proper editing with the second Doctor, and even more with the third Doctor.
Yeah, because they're reshooting the.
Right, they were reshooting the intros, rather than actually editing it because they didn't have the money to do it back then.
Some continuity errors.
You know, it is what it is.
Some coffee mugs left in shot.
That's Game of Thrones, right? Starbucks cups.
And Lord of the Rings, Gandalf was still wearing his wristwatch.
Okay, that is referred to as an anachronism.
An anachronism.
Mm-hmm.
Like in Gladiator, when you can see the camera crew on one edge of the shot.
Or like, I forget what movie it is, and it's set in the 1800s, but there's a car in the background driving on the highway. Yeah, that kind of stuff. Anachronisms. Right. Which is something modern.
Inaccurate.
That shouldn't be there, but in a historical setting where it couldn't have been.
That's why when we make our bad movie that's set in the medieval ages, we're going to be next to a highway and we can...
Sure. Just because it's a bad movie. Well, here, honking horns in the background.
We're going to make a good bad movie, though.
Nah, we're going to make the worst bad movie ever. It's going to make The Room look like Citizen Kane.
Never seen Citizen Kane.
Add it to the list.
All right. I have to find it. It's been a while since we've added something.
Citizen Kane. We've taken a few movies off the list.
Yeah.
But you're right, we don't add as many movies to it as we used to.
And Mortal Kombat, one of the characters is Johnny Cage. You ever played Mortal Kombat?
Well,
and he's like the
yes.
He's the movie actor, and his big movie is Citizen Cage.
Yeah.
Wears the sunglasses. You ever see the Mortal Kombat movies for Bad Movie Night?
Yes, actually.
Oh, they're fantastic.
The first one, but not the second one yet. It's in the queue.
The first one's the best.
The
second one
correct,
is
you have Highlander.
Awful.
Well, yeah, it's Bad Movie Night.
Alright.
Okay, so the Doctor gets to the Devil's Hump just barely in the nick of time by leaving Bessie in the road after a tree falls because supernatural forces are trying to prevent them from getting there. And he literally is getting there Oh, I already talked about the stupid reporter guy the whole time. Stupid 1970s British reporter guy, kind of reminiscent of...
Alistair.
Yeah, Alistair.
Ferguson.
Kind of reminiscent of the guy in the... what's the one where the doctor goes up into space? The Seeds of Death.
Yeah.
Kind of reminiscent of that reporter guy in the Seeds of Death.
I like that reporter more than Alistair.
Agreed. This guy's very sensationalistic, very, what is his name?
Alistair?
No. The real life guy I'm trying to think of. I can't think of his name. Used to expose like meat plant conditions and stuff back in the day. He's still alive.
Yeah, he's still doing like investigative reporting.
Right, but not quite like he used to. He's a bit more mainstream, but I can't think of the guy's name.
I still have my phone there.
But he's like in his 80s or so, or no, 70s. But anyway, so this guy's sitting there and he's talking it up, and he's like, and at midnight tonight, we will be showing exactly what will happen, and what will happen. It's all intense. And
the professor just gives him a 1-2 for it.
Yeah, the professor's like, you finally got to me, have you? Okay, follow me, we'll go in.
You're expecting me to talk about... Forget about that story.
Yeah. It's like, now that you've heard that other guy for so long.
You haven't done your research?
Yeah, exactly.
Like, for the viewers.
Oh, okay. So anyway, they go in, and it's almost midnight. He's almost going to pull out this, it's sort of a stone...
iron trowel.
He's got a trowel he's using to scrape off the stuff. It's kind of like a stone in front of a cairn, or a stone in front of a tomb. And he's about to pull it forward exactly at midnight. The doctor gets there. He's like, "No, don't do it!" Right as the guy does it, the stone blasts open, lands on the doctor, and all this super insane cold air comes out, as if the tomb was at 0 degrees Kelvin or something. And then
is that absolute zero?
That's absolute zero. And
there's something special about absolute zero. Have we
weird.
ever been able to reach absolute zero?
No, because that's when all matter stops.
Yeah, ceases to exist, and because something about atoms and
that's when everything just stops. Yeah. But anyway, so he gets there, and then Joe runs up, and she's like, "No, doctor, no." Then the ceiling falls in a bit.
Yeah, you get buried up. What's the lowest temperature we've ever reached in a lab?
In a lab?
Yeah.
I don't know, probably like 10 or 12 degrees Kelvin or something.
What do you think the hottest temperature we've been able to reach?
Considering there's nuclear fission and fusion reactors. And we've dropped atomic bombs. I would say with the atomic bombs, probably several thousand degrees or Fahrenheit or Celsius.
What's the temperature of the sun?
Yeah, we didn't do the sun. God did the sun.
Yeah, but what is the temperature?
I don't know.
How far away is the sun?
It's 8 to 8.5 minutes by the speed of light.
What's the sizes? Okay.
Seriously, we're about 8.5 minutes away by the speed of light. So the light that gets here to the Earth is 8 to 8.5 minutes from the sun, cast from the sun.
Seeing back in time. What do they call that? Whatever particles. Have you seen Tomorrowland?
No.
Sci-fi movie.
Bad Disney sci-fi movie.
Oh, it was great. It had the Fry and Laurie guy.
Fry or Laurie?
The house.
The skinnier one.
Yeah.
Okay.
Fry? Is that William Fry?
Stephen Fry, yeah.
Stephen Fry, yeah.
I think Stephen Fry. The other one, Laurie, is the stouter gentleman, the one with the jowls. Jowls. He. I
thought it was a good movie. I liked it.
I haven't seen it. It had George Clooney, right?
Yeah.
Not a big fan of his.
Even in Ocean's 11?
No.
I thought Ocean's was okay.
Hey.
What else is he in?
Well, the problem is you gotta see the original.
What about Batman? George Clooney Batman? With the zoom up on the crotch when he's pulling up his rubber underwear.
And he's got nipples on the bat suit.
Up and zooms in on the nipples.
No. God, no.
Arnold Schwarzenegger, Mr. Freeze.
That was a really bad movie. Seriously. Great. George Clooney has not been in anything good hardly ever. And then he got nominated and I think won an Academy Award not too long ago.
For what?
The Descendants, I think.
I don't even know about that.
Some people living in Hawaii that... I don't know. I didn't see the movie.
Did you watch Mortal Machines? Mortal Engines?
The one where the cities are eating the
other
cities?
Like London is on wheels.
Yeah.
Ah, that movie is so good.
It's a fun movie.
It's
not good, but it's a fun movie.
I loved it, and it bombed at the box office. And they spent $100 million on marketing, and it made no money, and they spent...
Well, the problem is
a lot of money on... The problem is it was an original movie.
The problem is that they started doing tween books as movies. Mm-hmm. You can say they started with Harry Potter, but it really got big with Hunger Games, Twilight, and there's been this big pull of, well, let's make movies about all these tween books.
Yeah.
And
people will love them.
Well, they did, but the problem is it got burnt out. Everyone got burnt out of them.
So we're probably not going to see a second Mortal Legends.
No.
I would have loved that.
By the time Mortal Legends came along, everyone was burnt out on all that crap. And they're like, nah, I'm good, I'm done.
I thought it was cool.
If they want to see post-apocalyptic, they want to see like...
they just want to see recycled sequels.
Well, but they
remade Star Wars movies and more Terminator movies.
No, nobody wants to see more Star Wars.
That's what makes money, though.
No, they don't need more. That's the problem. They destroyed them.
Yeah, that's what they're doing.
Get woke or go broke. So that's the problem with Star Wars these days. It's a problem with Star Trek. It's a problem with Terminator. It's a problem with so many franchises.
They're bringing back the best. Every single IP, every single series, they're bringing it back, reviving it, relaunch it. Sequels.
No, but the problem was if somebody wants to see post-apocalyptic at this point, they want to see Road Warrior. You know?
Mad Max.
Yeah, Mad Max. And that's why Fury Road did well. They're like, okay, fine. If you're going to give us that, give it adult. Give us an R rating. Don't give us this PG-13 rating. Or PG rating, I think Mortal Engines might have been.
I like Mortal Engines.
It was fun.
It was a good movie.
It was fun. It wasn't a good movie. It was fun. The editing was horrible.
It felt original.
The movie was very disjointed. There was too much going on, and it didn't quite come together the way it needed to.
I really liked the characters.
Well, the characters were good, and the visuals were stunning.
Yeah, some of the CGI was pretty dead.
Right, but
that's a problem.
The movie was not. It's kind of like what was that other really big bomb?
The alien
Golden
guy?
Compass.
Oh.
Yeah, there's another one of those books, and it just didn't work. Mm-hmm. There was no chemistry. There was no fluidness. There was just all disjointed and poorly edited, and
like our movie.
Huh?
Like our movie.
We don't have a movie yet.
Are we gonna bomb at the box office?
What box office? There's no box office.
The cardboard box office.
Oh, cardboard. Okay, is how to get ahead in advertising on the movie list?
Nope.
Put that on the movie list.
I don't think I've even heard of that one.
How to get ahead in advertising.
How do you get ahead in advertising?
I'll show you.
Ahead?
No, how to get ahead.
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 How to get some head in advertising.
Those are different
Wall
movies.
Street.
Yeah, those are different movies. No, great movie with Richard Grant, who, by the way, is in Doctor Who later on.
Richard Grant.
Right. He plays the Doctor briefly in a Children in Need special. Then he plays the non-canon Doctor in Scream of the Choctaw. He was supposed to be the Ninth Doctor. And then he comes back as the Great Intelligence much later on. So there's your Doctor Who tie-in. So back to Doctor Who.
What do they call that? 3 degrees to...
6 degrees of separation. Kevin Bacon.
Yeah.
Alright, okay. So episode 2 of 5. Alright, episode 2. The doctor's been frozen. He's literally a popsicle. The professor's dead. Jim's dead. Children's show. We got 2 deaths already in the first episode. They think the doctor's dead. They take him back. At the exact same time that he was about to open up the Karn, the Devil's Hump, the burrow. The master had a whole bunch of people.
They're doing
a ritual, a black magic ritual to summon. What was his name? Errol? A-R...
Azel.
No. Azel. Azel was based on Aziel, the fallen angel. In the Bible, or in theory, the Bible, Aziel, the fallen angel was based on him.
Also referred to as Azel?
Right, well, that's the thing, we don't know.
So we have an X-Men called Azazel.
Okay.
Oh, that's because, was it Hebrew? And they took out to shorten the...
Yeah, they
consonants. They took out like consonants and stuff.
Well, they take out vowels. They take out vowels in Hebrew sometimes, especially with the name of God, Yahweh. They would take out the vowels.
They turned it into like a 4-letter thing.
YHWH, Yahweh, because nobody's supposed to actually know the name of God. Ooh, peppermint schnapps.
So it's kind of like when the press became a big thing in the New Americas, the colonies. They started just taking out U's and stuff. They're like, this letter's not necessary.
Oh, no. Okay.
Honor, no U. Color, that doesn't need a U.
No. I can't remember if it was Noah Webster or Benjamin Franklin. Maybe. But yeah, Noah Webster did the first dictionary, but Benjamin Franklin, I think, had a hand in it or something. But he wanted to Americanize English. And a lot of those U's were in there because of the French, because they spoke French at the highest level of
government politics. Yeah.
Well, yes, the highest level of British society for a long time.
That's still a problem in Canada because you have like French Canadian, like Quebec. So if you want to get into Canadian politics, you're absolutely forced to know French.
Well, not if you're in regional politics. That's not Quebec, but no. So Yeah. But yeah, so they changed a lot of the spellings, Franklin and Webster did. So tire isn't T-Y-R-E, it's T-I-R-E. And theater isn't T-H-E-A-T-R-E, it's T-H-E-A-T-E-R.
I drive a Chevrolet movie theater.
Right, and honor isn't H-O-N-O-U-R, it's H-O-N-O-R. They simplified and Americanized the English language for us.
If they said boner in England, would it be spelled with a U?
I don't think so. But I don't know.
What do they call a boner in Europe?
They don't call you feeling horny. They say you feel randy.
Feeling randy, baby.
Exactly.
So I make you horny, baby.
Mm-hmm.
In America, it's
I'm
coming. In Europe, it's I'm arriving.
No, a boner would be a stiffy.
Stiffy?
A stiffy.
Ya wanka?
Wanka, yeah. Okay, so episode 2, the doctor's frozen.
We just got banned from Our English audience are going to click on this video. It's like, you can't view this in your region.
There are regions. Okay. So, we have an English audience, really? We got 22 subscribers. Thank you for hanging on. Even if you don't watch the videos, which I think we have an average of 5 views per video these days. Yeah, okay. One of them's you and one of them's me, I think. So we got 3 real viewers out there.
You.
And if this ever takes off by some amazing fluke of chance, it'll be funny when we're talking about the 5 views. We got like 500,000 or something, you know? Yeah. All right. So anyway, it's never gonna happen.
I ordered some sound foam.
Oh, cool. I got a new computer, and it's awesome. It's a beast, and I just got to get the software to edit the stuff now. So this may not be up for a week or 2.
I updated the intro to be in 4K and 60 frames, so it's going to match the actual video quality.
Oh, you gotta send that to me.
Yeah.
Wait, do you have the heroes and villains?
Yeah, I did that too. I made 2 separate ones. I made the regular one, updated 4K and 60 frames.
And then you did the heroes and villains. Okay. So we're gonna have we're gonna have a new set of shows.
Subsidiary
Set of shows, which would be called Heroes and Villains. Which, oddly enough, I think I subconsciously stole from a documentary series about various Doctor Who heroes and villains.
Huh? There's also an MMO called Heroes and Villains.
Yeah, I didn't realize that until recently when I was looking at this stuff. But anyway, so what we'll do is
maybe we'll call it Heroes and Baddies. That's what they call villains.
No, villains is fine. I mean,
Baddies.
Villains is fine. It's a general enough term, and I did not consciously steal it, but I may have subconsciously stole it. But anyway, so what we'll do is we'll talk about specific characters in the Doctor Who universe that we have encountered.
Uh-huh.
So, we'll have a deal about the first Doctor, and then we may have one about Ian, one about Barbara, one about Susan, and these will be much shorter videos probably. We may do several in the evening, and I'll just post them up as I can.
Whenever maybe we miss a week,
right?
Back up to upload.
Right. We'll do that.
I'll just post them one second.
Right, it'll probably have the Drunk Doctor Who logo and then the Heroes and Villains screen capture, whatever, for 10 seconds, and then it'll go into it. But we'll talk about the overarching arc of a particular character or villain. Like we'll talk about the Master, we'll talk about the Axons, we'll talk about the Cybermen, Sergeant Benton, the Brigadier, stuff like that. Yeah. And just give our thoughts on the character, individual, baddies, whatever,
So we can only make those episodes once we finish that character's arc, and they're not.
Well, no, we can't do that because they're never going to finish up the Daleks. They're never going to finish up the Cybermen. They'll never finish up the Cybermen.
With those exceptions, but like.
True, but for characters, yeah, we'll do that. Although to be fair, some of them come back much later. Like Jamie.
Jamie McGuigan?
Well, we're done with Jamie McGuigan, right?
Yeah.
No, he comes back 2 or 3 more times.
Okay.
He shows up briefly in 5 Doctors.
Not as a companion?
No, as a companion. In all of them.
But he has no memory of his adventures with the Doctor.
Correct, but supposedly he's taken out of time while he was still with the Doctor. So I can't remember if he shows up with the 3 Doctors. He may. I don't remember.
He just never saw fit to mention
but
that.
He definitely shows up in the 5 Doctors, and I think in the Caves of Androzani, and then again in the 2 Doctors. So he shows up at least 2 or 3 or 4 more times.
So is that the same actor?
Same actor. He's still alive.
Oh. Must age well.
I don't know, but he's still alive.
Is he actually Scottish? Or is he like a British playing a Scot?
No. He's Scottish. Oh, you make.
Well, that's the character's name.
Oh, but Hines, Jeffrey Hines. The actor's name is Jeffrey Hines.
Oh, okay.
And I think he's Scottish, but I'm not 100% sure. I don't know. Alright. So anyway.
What if he's like from Texas?
No, he's not from Texas.
Just has like a southern accent.
Pretty much every single character on Doctor Who, even the ones that are supposed to be American, are British.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that still blows my mind when I see a character who played an American in a movie and they ended up being a British person. Like when I found out Ewan McGregor is English. Or like Stephen Fry.
House.
Yeah. He does such a great American accent as House.
Yep.
You see.
Later on we have Perry. She has got a pretty good American accent. And she's English. Same thing for Captain Jack.
So far we haven't really heard a lot of good American accents. They've been very... Howdy, Pilgrim.
Well, what's his face? The one who was left in The Savages.
The guy that was on the tower during the chase. The Empire State Building.
The Empire State Building in the chase. Right, and then he shows up as a companion. Right. That...
Stephen?
Yeah, Stephen. The accent he did when he was the other guy in the chase was fairly hackneyed, you know?
Howdy, Pilgrim.
Yeah.
Yeehaw.
Well, to be fair...
Even though he's like a New Yorker.
To be... Well, no, he was visiting New York.
He was playing like a...
To be fair, some people sound like that. But also... Most of the American accents at that juncture in British TV weren't that great, especially in the 60s. By the 70s and 80s, they get better.
My impression of British people is just as bad. Mm-hmm. They're all the same. Oi, governor!
Yeah, Cockney, huh?
Chicken chaser! Oi!
Chicken chaser?
Chicken kicker! You ever play Fable, the game?
No. Can we actually get... We're like one episode into this serial.
We're on the second
episode. Barely. Okay. Doctor Who.
You do the
Doctor Who.
Do you need a refill?
Yeah, thank you for watching our therapy session. Apparently that's what this is every Monday night.
This is a therapy session.
It's therapy.
Let me.
Here.
You take the notes.
Fill this up with ice.
I'm the patient.
Okay. Tell me about your childhood.
My father never hugged me.
Who cares? All right, give me some ice.
Man up.
Man up.
I prescribe you balls dropping. Fill it with ice?
Well, yeah, and then I'll put the stumps
you have it in here?
Yeah, I have the stumps with there.
Gotcha.
Okay. All right. So Joe's afraid the doctor's dead. Everyone thinks he's dead. They, of course, bring him back to the pub. He's frozen as an icicle. And there's an actual doctor there, and he's feeling for a pulse. He's like, wait a second. I may have felt a faint pulse. So they get him blankets and warm bottles and all that. Hot water bottles. And they surround him and they take him to a bed and they're trying to warm him up. In the meantime, the doctor's listening to his chest and he's like, I could have sworn I heard 2 hearts. It's like, no, it must be an echo from an atypical bone structure, which I think is the greatest rationalization for the doctor's 2 hearts I've ever heard, in terms of not being able to cope with it. So anyway, the doctor's put upstairs in one of the beds above the pub, a good old classic D&D tavern where you have beds above the tavern, beds above the pub. And Joe is trying to nurse him back to health, but there's a lot of goings on. And apparently, Yates, the brigadier, was going out to a fancy dress party, so he wasn't available at the time. But Yates and Sergeant Benton watched what happened during the unearthing of the dig because it was all on TV. They're trying to get in touch with everybody because the video turned off right after Joe was screaming about the doctor. They managed to get there, and Joe Grant is so happy to see Yates. You kind of get the feeling they're sweet on each other, although she doesn't end up with him in the end. Spoilers. They go there in a chopper that apparently Yates can fly really, really well. On the way, they see a bunch of giant footprints that are very, very large, cloven hooves, like that of a deer or of a satyr. And they stop and they look at him, and Yates is like, wait a minute, that thing would have to be 30 feet tall. And well, it actually turns out to be about 30 feet tall. And the the name of the pub is the Cloven Hoof, and shows a giant cloven hoof of a creature's. Yeah, they show that part, but you gotta figure the creature's a giant, about 30 feet tall. So, it's been around a while, and so is the creature. Anyway, there's this giant blast of heat that comes from the church, ancient church, where underneath they have a cavern where the ancient witches used to perform their rituals and sacrifices, and where some of the witches were hunted down and killed and sacrificed in their own way. In that, that's where the master was performing his stuff. While he was pretending to be a vicar, he was performing black magic witch rites. Anyway, so the big blast of heat finally wakes up the doctor because he was cold, but that wakes him up. And he's like, okay, we need to go investigate all this stuff. He gets up and they head out, and they head to the church. Well, they go get Bessie from the road where they abandoned Bessie, and they head to the church. And then the brigadier finds out that the doctor's gone, that Joe's gone, that Corporal Yates is gone, that Sergeant Benton are gone, and that Yates and Benton took his helicopter, and he's in bed in his pajamas. He's like, okay, bring my car around, I'm heading there. So they head with a mobile HQ in his car and a few jeeps full of men, and they head towards Devil's End. Once they get there, they see a giant heat barrier. And there's this poor, a delivery post guy who's delivering the mail or what have you, and he ran afoul of the heat barrier. He jumps out, but then his vehicle explodes. So then the brigadier shows up, and the guy's like, don't go there. And you see this giant, about 10-foot wide barrier that surrounds the entire town at about a mile diameter from the point of the church all the way around. 10 miles. 10 miles.
10 miles, 1 mile high.
1 mile at the apogee.
Don't.
The apogee is the high point for the center.
Here you go. I refilled your drink with ice.
Oh, thank you.
Don't worry, I washed my hands. I used my mouth to put the ice cubes in the cup, but at least I washed my hands.
Let me explain how alcohol kills germs.
Do you ever see a bird drink water? You want to know what it looks like?
Went down the wrong pipe, didn't it? Yes, it did.
That's how they drink water. Because they don't... The biology of a bird is they don't have throat muscles. They can't swallow. They just use gravity to drink water. Gravity? So they fill their beak with water, and then they do this, and they go...
Alright, so...
That's my impression of a bird.
There you go. So... Joe... the doctor... Sergeant Benton and Corporal Yates are inside the barrier.
Captain Yates.
No, Corporal. What? Hey, Corporal. They're inside the barrier, and the brigadier and the rest of the men are outside the barrier. Oof. Pretty good. Thank you.
Surprisingly, no one died because of the heat barrier. Even though the guy who parked his car
They do later on.
And he got out. Well, yeah.
Yeah.
And then the one guy, how they found out about the heat barrier, because the mailman.
Besides the giant scorch marks.
Yeah. Well, then they didn't seem to notice him as the brigadier is pointing his stick, and then it catches on fire. And then the guy that drives and gets out of his car, and his car bursts into flame. He's like, I have no idea why. And you never even bothered to block off the roads, so anyone could have driven into where we're looking for.
Well, I was gonna double check on that character, Oscar, because I think Oscar is the name of. Okay, so anyway,
Oscar is the nerd, freaking 4 eyes.
All right. So yeah, okay. So engineer, technician. So
technically,
Like you talking about the Simpsons guy? Alright, so the doctor's like, okay, you've got to come through the barrier, and this is how you do it. And he's telling him how to do it. And there's the doctor's a scientific advisor for the unit, but there's this technical guy there called Osgood, alright? And the doctor's telling him how to use energy to break through the barrier so you can get in.
And how they wrote the script was E equals MC squared, right? Cut away, cut back. He goes, reverse the polarity, and then they cut away.
Yeah, reverse the polarity.
They cut back, and he's like, it's obvious. All you have to do is, and then they cut away.
But no. Anyway,
because they don't know how to.
So that position is held by this guy, and his name is Osgood. Anyway, in the modern stuff,
the nerd position.
In the modern stuff, there's another character, a female, of course, because you got to replace the women with the women eventually. And her name is Osgood, and she
wears a scarf.
She wears Tom Baker's scarf as an homage, but she is during the Smith, who's not up there, and Capaldi's doctors. No, wait, here's Smith. No, here's Smith. That's Smith. Capaldi's done all that. I need to get a new picture. But she's during Smith and Capaldi's era, and she's in the 50th anniversary special. Let's see.
So because they share the last name Osgood, and they share a similar role of the resident,
the glasses, the style.
Nerd.
I mean, I think she may be his daughter, although it's not stated. If not, it's a throwback homage to the original show.
The one problem with the theory of her being his daughter is that Osgood is obviously a virgin.
Okay, the British have low standards. She's not obviously a virgin. Or he is not obviously a virgin. Low standards. Okay, it doesn't even have her name on this. I'm going to have to look that up. But I think her name is Osgood. I think she's meant to be his daughter because she's about 30. In the modern stuff here, which would have been about 30 years later. And she's that same style of character. So, let's see. Not there. There you go. Alright. But I think it's she's supposed to be the daughter of that. And that's really awesome because I only made that connection today. Because I never caught his name really before. Alright, so anyway, this Osgood guy is trying to follow the doctor's instructions. He can break through the barrier. In the meantime, Sergeant Benton goes down to the cavern to investigate along with the White Witch lady. Hawthorne. They go down there, and she tells him not to step on the stone.
Satanic.
Yeah, the stone that was set up to be the placement for Azal.
Summoning
stone or whatever.
Circles.
Yeah. He ends up getting in a fight with an acolyte, and they fight back and forth.
Garvin, the verger. What's a verger?
I don't know.
They refer to him as Garvin the Verger. I assume it's some sort of church position because he's always hanging out with the.
Well, and he's wearing the collar. It may be a bottom end church position, or it may be like the guy in charge of the grounds or something.
Yeah. So some sort of priestly position. Yeah.
In the Church of England.
He's a verger.
Who's
anyway, mind controlled.
Yeah. So originally the master had the verger grab Hawthorne.
Yes.
So she would interfere with the midnight opening of the tomb, and he tied her up, knocked her out, tied her up, and put her in a
chest.
It's not just; it's a window seat.
Oh.
My
parents have one of those.
Oh, there you go. And usually it's got the thing,
in the hallway. Yeah, they keep books or blankets in the bookshelves and it's by the window. And
so he puts her in the window seat. So Benton is doing a reconnaissance after they've landed in Devil's End, while Yates is comforting Joe, because like I said, they kind of got a thing, it seems. Although, spoilers, she doesn't end up with Yates.
She ends up with Benton.
No.
Huh.
She ends up with a guy we'll see in about 2 seasons. Alright. So he's going by the church, and he hears her calling for help. He goes in, he unties her, he rescues her, and she's like, "Oh, thank you, sir. Good night."
She was my hero.
And he's like, "What?"
She
said,
damsel in distress.
"Even though your damsel's a bit long in the tooth."
Long in the tooth.
I love the fact she uses that term. I love that term.
She had a very distinct voice, which I liked. It was like
and personality.
Yeah, it was like the kind of voice that would go really well with a voice acting role. Like she'd voice a cartoon or video game character.
She
was
was
distinct.
She was a good actress.
Yeah,
she was unique, and she was her character was a great character, and I really liked her. And I'm looking forward to seeing the White Witch of Devil's End, the sequel, which I think is just the one now. So anyway, I think Return to Devil's End is the documentary. Daemons of Devil's End is the overarching title for the 2. But I'm looking forward to watching them. Anyway, so eventually, so
I'll forget by then. Be like, who?
Probably.
You're gonna be like, remember in Daemons? I'm like, no, I don't remember that. I was drunk.
Yeah. So Benton rescues her, but then gets in a tussle down in the cavern with an acolyte, and
Garvin the Verger.
Right. He gets thrown into that square, and it turns out he gets beaten like a redhead stepchild, like bam, 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 because of the supernatural forces supposedly in the square. Turns out the doctor later on explains it as a force field.
Psionic.
Yeah. The master finds them, or is it the Verger? Yeah, the Verger holds him at gunpoint. Yep. Benton is out cold on his feet. Right, and she helps Benton walk under duress from the Verger, and they leave. They get out of the church, and the Verger sees the giant Daemon. And they run away. The Verger stops in his tracks. He tries to shoot the Daemon, and the Daemon kills him. Because, like children's show. Yeah. There's like 3 or 4 deaths so far.
Half the episode was cut out in Australia. Australian viewers are like, "What's happening? Did I miss something? Where did the Verger go?"
Well, to be fair, at least there's no corpse. He just disappears. Just boop. Yeah. All right. So they run off to the tavern. The doctor and everybody try to take care of Sergeant Benton.
What if they made a rated R movie of Doctor Who is just super violent, like people exploding, blood and guts and gore?
It's possible, but it wouldn't fit the show.
Horror elements of aliens.
It wouldn't fit the show.
I think that'd be pretty cool. Imagine the Verger standing there with a shotgun, but instead of boop, he disappears. He just explodes.
Scanner style?
Like with bones. Like Mortal Kombat fatality.
Have you seen Scanners?
Do I have to add that?
Put it on the list.
That's the 3rd movie we've added tonight.
Yeah, we haven't added a movie in months.
We're making up for last time. Okay. Is it called Scanners?
Scanners.
Is that like hackers?
Not at all. Well, kinda. Brain hackers.
Brain worms.
Alright.
Weevils.
So.
It's a magic card.
Okay, so they get to the pub, and the doctor and everybody's trying to help Ben. The brigadier's still trying to get through. He can't. Okay, so the doctor's talking to Hawthorne. He's like, "Bring me everything you can. I've got." Oh no. This is where he and Joe go to the tomb, right? Okay, so he and Joe go to the tomb, and they go there, and they find a miniature spaceship thingy. And the doctor's like, "Try to pick that up." Joe tries to pick it up. She's like, "I can't. It's it's held fast. He's like, it's because it weighs approximately 750,000 tons. She's like, what? And he's like, okay, so this is a race called the Daemons, and they come from 60,000 light years away, which is the absolute opposite side of the galaxy. Like the center of the galaxy, we're here, they're there, and this is the center. So they've helped mankind throughout the ages grow and develop, which is a theme that's actually kind of explored later on in Doctor Who.
So like the aliens helping humanity
In
construct
2001.
pyramids and technology and yada yada.
Hold on. That same theme is explored in 2001: A Space Odyssey, and is explored in
It's like a sci-fi trope of the alien forerunners that.
Oh no, it is. I'm trying to remember the other big thing it's in. I know it is, and I can't think of it. Where they push technology and stuff.
Transformers.
Transforming mankind to reach a certain goal at a certain point for a certain reason. Oh,
with
yes. Later
Angelina
on,
Jolie she teleports in the ball. They drop it through, and it's like a time.
Angelina Jolie.
Yeah.
Are you thinking of Contact?
Yes.
Jodie Foster.
No. Yeah.
Yeah, it was Jodie Foster.
Jodie Foster. Okay.
No. The same concept here is explored in City of Death.
Oh, okay.
Which is another Doctor Who serial. In fact, one of the classics. This is a classic. That one's also a classic. And we'll get to that in the Fourth Doctor.
Okay.
All right. So for Doctor. Yep, the scarf. All right. So.
You're getting pretty good at that.
All right. First Doctor. Who's the first Doctor?
Hurdle.
Yep. Who's the second Doctor?
Drown.
Third Doctor.
Kirby.
All right. Fourth Doctor.
Scarf.
Fifth Doctor.
Give me a second.
Nope.
Dang it.
Celery. Fifth Doctor. Sixth Doctor. No.
Dang. That one?
Yep.
Yep.
Seventh.
That was
Nope.
No, that one.
There you go. Eighth.
I knew he was coming. Eighth.
Yep. Ninth.
McGann.
McGann.
Yeah.
Ninth.
Where are we at? Ninth?
Yep. 10th.
10.
Yep.
11.
11th. 12th and 13th are on there. So
War Doctor.
War Doctor's on there. So the War Doctor didn't exist when this post was made. So Hartnell, Troughton, Pertwee, Tom Baker, Davison, Colin Baker, McCoy, McGann, then technically in order the War Doctor, which the War Doctor is John Hurt. All right, Eccleston, Tennant, Smith, Capaldi, and now Whitaker. There you go. All right. Okay, so the Doctor explains.
Trying to keep track of the Power Rangers.
Alright, so Doctor explains to Joe what's going on. A gargoyle shows up, which was animated by the force of Azel. Yeah. So the gargoyle shows up and threatens
His name
him.
is Buck. His name is
The
Buck.
Doctor pulls out a trowel, an iron trowel.
It was actually, I think, it was the same trowel that the professor was using to scrape away.
No clue.
And then he got frozen. The trowel dropped there.
The Doctor was frozen too. No, the Doctor was frozen.
Well, he came back in. That's that same cavern, so he must have picked it up on the way in.
I wouldn't be surprised if the Doctor just had an iron trowel.
Or maybe he just carries around
his
his Batman's belt of.
Later on, especially in the Fourth Doctor, you'll see the Doctor has a bunch of stuff in his
stuff
pockets,
out.
and there are scenes where he's just spending 3 minutes pulling crap out of his pockets.
Do you think his jacket pockets are bigger on the inside?
They probably are. Yeah. The bag of holding.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, the Doctor pulls out all the stuff. The Doctor pulls out his iron trowel, chases the gargoyle off.
He recites a nursery rhyme.
A Venusian nursery rhyme.
The same place he learned his kung fu.
Yeah. Venusian kung fu. The master is controlling the gargoyle. The gargoyle runs off. The Doctor and Joe get back to the pub. He explains everything to everyone else. That the Daemons are an ancient race from the opposite side of the galaxy.
He has his slide projector.
Slides. Horns. Everywhere horns. Because they always have horns.
Goats are demons. Because they have horns.
There are several movies that go along those lines.
I'm a demon.
I'm
horny. It's a bad joke.
Bad joke. Okay, so he explains them what's going on. Explains that this is not a mythical creature, not a supernatural creature, but an alien creature.
Similar to how they handle the Asgards in Marvel universe, like Thor and Loki. They refer to themselves as gods because they think they're so much superior because they're just this strong alien race compared to other planets, like Earth. So they're these alien species, and then they come to Earth, and then they present themselves as gods. And
okay, I mean, I've seen some of those movies. I haven't seen all one. I gave up after like the second Avengers movie.
It's good. The Age of Ultron. No, you watched the
last
Infinity
one I
War.
saw was Infinity War.
Yeah,
and I'm done. That's it. I liked how it ended.
I'm done after part 2.
And
I think that's the. I'm sure they're gonna keep making Marvel superhero movies.
Oh, yeah.
I'm not gonna watch them.
Yeah,
I think this was a good stopping point.
I'm good. I'm done. He's good. He's done.
Burn out on superhero movies.
Up yours, Disney, where you don't want to see that crap anymore.
I'm also totally done with Star Wars.
Yep. Up yours, Disney. We don't want to see that crap anymore.
I don't care how good people say the Mandalore television show is. I'm just
Mandalorian.
What did I say? Mandalorian television show and Baby Yoda. I'm just done watching it.
I will give you $35 a year, Disney, for my season of The Simpsons, as long as you keep it running. They own that now, but that's it.
You can buy a pass for ESPN, Hulu, and Disney Plus, and it's like the same price. It's like $35.
No, but I own the season when I pay the $35.
Oh, okay, you're just buying it.
I'm buying it outright.
Gotcha. Yeah.
I used to buy all the DVDs, and I have all the DVDs up to season 20, and then they stopped putting out the DVDs.
And you started buying them digitally.
Yeah, and you had to buy them digitally. Now I bought them all, even the earlier stuff. But and I'm like, just if they keep making it, I'll keep buying it. But that's the only money I'm giving Disney. I'm not going to Disney World or Disneyland. I don't want to see their crappy movies. I don't want to see the destruction of Star Wars or Star Trek or Marvel or any of that other stuff. I'm just done.
When you buy a digital copy of something, can you burn it to a disc? Is that possible?
I think you can download it and burn it to a disc, but I'm not 100% sure. I haven't done it.
Because I bought some movies through like YouTube, but 15 years from now, YouTube, you can rent and buy movies.
Okay, I buy most of mine from I buy them physically if I can. If I can't buy them physically, like the Big Bus or Sextet or something obscure like that, I'll buy it on Amazon Prime.
I usually just do it for convenience.
No, I prefer the physical media.
So I own the first 6 Star Wars films through YouTube. But say 15 years from now, maybe YouTube they shut that site down. It goes bankrupt 20 years from now. Then how am I going to watch my movies I bought?
Well, you only own them as long as it's going.
Yes.
You own the digital rights to them, but if the provider doesn't exist, I don't think you get them.
Exactly.
But when a provider goes down, they should offer a 6-month period when you can download it. Or at least a 3-month period where you can download it.
Otherwise, I'm going to have to put on my pirate hat.
All right.
I paid for this. I'm going to download it.
Okay. So the doctor is trying to go meet the Brigadier to explain to the Brigadier,
to the nerd who's not good
to Osgood, how to reverse the polarity and set up a deal where they can actually get to the force field and drain the energy of the Azal. Okay. Azazel. So Joe and the Doctor are heading there in Bessie, and then some bad guy heads out and tries to steal the helicopter.
It's actually Garvin the Verger.
Oh, Garvin the Verger.
He's back. No, he died. Never mind. He got zapped.
It's a different guy.
It's who was it?
I don't know. I think it's henchman.
Oh, it's Bert, the bartender.
Oh yeah, Bert.
I think.
So Bert, the bartender, tries to steal the helicopter that's sitting in the square of this village from Corporal Yates, and they have a big fight. And Corporal Yates loses.
Yeah,
Bert ends up with the helicopter.
He's possessed by supernatural energy, and he's just tanking punches in the face and not even...
Agreed. And apparently it also gives him the knowledge, like Matrix style, of how to fly a helicopter.
I know Kung Fu.
Hey, when Satan's at the helm, So anyway... So... Corporal Yates is defeated, even though he takes a couple of pot shots at the helicopter. The helicopter takes off. Then Yates jumps on a motorcycle to try and catch up with the Doctor and Joe. The helicopter catches up with the Doctor and Joe and strafes them a couple of times, and they realize that's not Yates or Benton. And then Yates shows up on the motorcycle and says, "Hey, it's this other guy." And he's like, "I'll try to draw him off." And the Doctor's like, "No, he wants me. You get out of here." So the Doctor's heading headlong for the barrier, the heat barrier, and he tells Joe to hang on, and he does this just for the heat barrier while the helicopter's strafing him again. He does a sharp right turn, and since the driver's wheel is on the right side in Britain, it means Joe's on the left side. She gets flung out of Bessie. But then the helicopter, due to the sharp embankment,
he says, "Hey, hold on tight, Joe."
And she does. But due to the incline of the dome, the helicopter hits that and explodes. So Yates and the Doctor check on Joe. She's okay, but she took a nasty bump on the head. And the Doctor sends Joe back to the tavern in Bessie, his car with Yates. So they head back, and then the Doctor, who is this whole time trying to explain to Osgood, private, captain, sergeant, whatever, I don't know if he ever actually give his rank, to Osgood how to build this. He's an engineering technical guy. So he's working on building it, and the Doctor says, "Look, I'll take the motorbike back." And Osgood can't figure it out. So the Doctor draws in grease pencil. If you don't know what that is, it's kind of the modern equivalent of a Sharpie. Kinda. But I believe it's in grease pencil on the wind block of the motorcycle. And I don't know what's sexier, him driving a motorcycle or him drawing the circuit patterns on the wind block for it, the windshield on it. But finally Osgood gets the idea and starts building it to tap into the pylons, the giant energy towers, to break into the force field. So the Doctor takes off back to town. In the meantime, the Daemon is summoned by the Master for the second time, and that wakes up Joe. But the Master is taken aback because he can't control the Daemon, and Daemon's like, "Look, I came here when you summoned me, but I'm not your slave. I will do what I want to do, and I will either give my power to someone here, you, because the master's like, well, I'm the smartest ever and I'm not of this planet. And Daemon's like, well, there's one other like you. I'll give it to him or I'll give it to you, but I want to talk to him. Or I'll destroy this planet, because that's what we do. We come here to create experiments. We let the experiments develop. And you are one of those, and I will either give one of you the power or I will destroy this experiment. Fairly apocalyptic. He says, do you want me to come again? Because I want to come one more time. The master says yes, because he's an idiot. Pardon me, a fool. He's not an idiot, he's smart, but he is a fool. So then Daemon leaves. We're like in episode 4 now. The master gets the squire of the town to call people together. They have a meeting. In the meeting, the squire says, hey, we need to talk about this before it gets out of hand. The vicar has some thoughts on the situation, so the master steps up. He tells the town, hey, you can have whatever you want, literally in this entire world, if you listen and obey me. I just need your complete obedience and subjugation. And they're like, no. And the squire's like, I'm out of here. And the master calls the gargoyle in, and the gargoyle kills the squire. Children's show. They're like 6 deaths so far. So Squire's dead. The rest of them are like, sure, we'll do whatever you want. Don't kill us, please. So the master tells them to set up a trap for the doctor. And Joe and Yates each independently went, because remember Joe's awake now, go to the cavern to try to investigate. Benton, who was fairly beat up and it's still obvious, and Hawthorne, the White Witch, are still in the tavern trying to contact everybody and wait for the doctor, because he's trying to come back. The doctor's attempting to go back. Oh yeah. And of course the Brigadier is trying to get Osgood to finish so they can come through. Eventually towards the end of the episode, the Brigadier Osgood does manage to fix everything and get everything working, and they all get through the barrier. Doctor's like, good, okay, we can continue. The doctor's heading back to the pub. Come on in.
You can't show those.
Oh,
those
not on Twitch.
Service.
Was it Twitch, right?
I think so.
Yeah.
Wee!
Alright, so doctor's heading back to the pub, and everyone's starting the May Day festivities, because it's May Day. If you don't know, May Day, it's May 1st. What are you doing?
No.
What'd you do?
Just checking the chat. You're slouching, so it's cutting you off like right here. So I just ain't moved.
Okay.
I don't know if I actually moved it.
So all I got was my head talking for like half an hour.
It's like
here.
It just looked a little low. So
Giggity.
Right. Yeah.
So the doctor's trying to get back. He's walking to the May Day festivities where they're doing the maypole.
Mayday.
And the Beltane dance.
I didn't say anything about payday.
What were they called? The
Beltane?
No, the dancers.
The fertility. Oh, I don't know what the dancers are called.
Yeah. There's something, she mentions it.
There's something dancers.
Yeah, we always do. So anyway, there's the dancers. They end up
wooden sticks that
capturing right. The wooden sticks with the bells on them, and they're doing the dance. Bolton dancers or Beltane dancers or something. So they end up capturing the doctor, tying him up around the maypole, and then the one guy comes out and he's like, "Thou shalt not suffer a witch to live."
Stanley,
yeah. And they put hay around the base of the pole as if they're going to burn the doctor like a witch. And Miss Hawthorne comes out, and she's like, "Well, he's greater than the Magister,
Quid quo quo.
Yeah, quid quo quo, which is probably Latin for something. I don't know. Probably different tenses of a Latin verb, like quid pro quo. You know, for you, for me, or whatever. But anyway, so she calls him quid quo quo, and then she says,
So
"Okay."
What does fee fi fo fum stand for?
I don't know.
Translated.
But she says, "You shatter that lamp." And the doctor says, "Okay, lamp, shatter." And it's Sergeant Benton shooting with a silencer at the lamp.
Uh-huh.
And he's like, okay, cock weather vane, you will spin, the rooster. And Ben shoots it, hits it, and it spins. And he's like, okay, then watch my car, come here, my avatar. Because he showed earlier that he has remote control over the car, and it actually goes to them. And the bad guy gets knocked over by the car.
He's like, behind you. I'm not falling
for that crap.
This trick in the book.
Yeah. And of course,
just a few questions about this scene.
Yeah. So the doctor gets away. They capture the bad guy, and they head to the church because Yates shows up after he'd been knocked out, and he says, "Hey, they've got Joe." So they run to the church. The gargoyle is in front of the church, and then this is when the brigadier shows up with the extra men. Yeah, Buck. And they keep firing at the gargoyle, and the one bad guy runs up to the gargoyle and says, "No, look at me, friend," and he kills him. Yay, children's show.
That's the end of Winstanley.
Yeah. So they're trying to get in the church. They keep firing at the gargoyle, but they're doing any good. Finally, the energy absorption from the reverse the polarity machine injured and crippled a bit the daemon and the gargoyle. At that point, the doctor runs past the gargoyle.
Having a headache.
Right. He's just walking around like, ah. So the doctor gets in. And so inside the cavern, the doctor's like, well, no, don't hurt the girl. Besides, I want to talk to you. And he's talking to the daemon. And to be fair, there's one acolyte who, while the master's saying, hold the girl down, hold Joe down, we're going to sacrifice her, this one guy's like, that's wrong. That's wrong. We shouldn't do it. And the master's like, obey me.
That's where he draws the line.
Right. But essentially, yeah, it's where that one guy draws the line.
Probably the same guy that after they did the ritual in the first episode, and like everything's breaking out, and then the guy realizes it's all real. He's like,
yeah.
But they're like, he's like, okay, now you shall be my minions, and he's like, activate the summoning rune on the tile.
Okay. But to be fair, there's that one guy. He sounds about 20, right?
Well, I think most of them were kind of mind influenced by the master.
Correct. So but that one guy drew the line. To be fair, that one guy didn't want to do it. But he's eventually forced to.
Also, Joe's been put in this sacrificial robe, which has like this weird,
very medieval
window on her, like right here.
That's very common
it's
for women's
clothing.
They want to show. They want women's clothing where they want to show off cleavage and their boobs, but they don't want you to look at it. But we're going to do it.
But it doesn't actually say anything,
here.
show anything, because it's like a closed slat. It's not like pulled over, but there's just like a cut.
Yeah.
I don't understand the style.
Yeah. Anyway, so
to be fair, she was forced into the room.
True. So anyway, so Doctor shows up, and this is right after the master had summoned the demon for the third and final time. And he's like, I will destroy this world, or I will give my power to you. And the doctor shows up and says, hey, I want to talk to you. It's like, okay. Why? And the doctor lies to him a couple times about the machine that drained the energy. And,
doesn't work.
Yep, doesn't work. This guy knows all, sees all. He's like, why you who venerate truth have lied to me? He's like, so I wanted to get your attention and talk to you. He's like, okay, why? The doctor's like, look, these are good people. they may yet destroy themselves, but allow them to exist. Just go on your merry way. And the master's like, look, destroy him. He's our enemy. And the Daemon's like, are you saying they will destroy themselves? And the doctor's like, I don't know, but let them grow up. And so the Demon's finally like, okay, my instructions are clear. And I'm the last of the Daemons, because everybody's always the last of whatever. Mm-hmm. And the Doctor eventually becomes the last of the Time Lords. But I mean, it's a really played out trope at that point, you know? But anyway, so he's like, I'm the last of the Daemons. My instructions are clear. Destroy you all or give my power to someone to rule. And he's like, I have decided. The Master's like, yay! I will give my power to the Doctor. He doesn't say the Doctor, but give it to him. Mm-hmm. And the Doctor's like, no, I don't want it. And he's like, really? And you figure the Daemon would go, well, obviously, here's hope for humanity and hope for people. But no, he goes, okay, I'll give it to the Master. And the Master's like, yay. And he says, well, I'm going to kill you because you are illogical. And he starts the psychic force in the Doctor, which the Doctor explained earlier.
He's like Emperor Force.
Right. The Doctor explained earlier that none of it's magic. The White Witch, the Black Witches, none of it's magic. It's all part of the harvesting of psychic force to create outcomes through that force in ways that we don't necessarily understand. Right, psionics. The Doctor explains that, and I don't know, but that's what he says. So anyway, the Daemon is trying to kill the Doctor, and Joe jumps in and goes, no, take me, he's a good man, don't kill him. And this simple act
does not compute
and makes the Daemon literally end up in a self-explosive destructive loop, much like the computer in the second Doctor. Right, Botan. Right. Much like the computer
does not compute.
Valkyrie or whatever it was, Valkyrie. Voltan was Voltan.
With what's her face speaking computer?
Right.
110.
Yeah, and so
she speaks dial up to the computer.
So this episode in the serial ended rather quickly in the last 3 minutes, where the Daemon self-destructs because somebody was willing to sacrifice their life for the Doctor. When that kind of sacrifice, that kind of good vibe, didn't make any sense to a demon that was summoned by the bad vibes, negative energies, psychic energies. So he destructs. Everyone runs out of that church, and it explodes in the self-destruction. And at the same time, the ship that he had in the Devil's Hump self-destructs. And that's really pretty much the end of the serial. The Doctor explaining what happened to the Brigadier and everyone, and they all go dance the Mayday dance with the pole.
The Master tries to make a run for it.
Yeah,
hijacks Bessie.
He hijacks Bessie. The Doctor controls Bessie with his remote control to bring the Master back, and he's like, "Great!"
So finally, we capture the Master. I'm sure that will last for.
Well, to be fair, this is the end of the season, so it'll last at least till the next season. Right.
I need to put a blindfold on him.
Yeah, this is the last season of season. The last serial of season 8. The second season for this Doctor.
So we're going to season 9.
Right. Next time will be season 9. Right.
And season 9 of the podcast.
No.
Updated something.
No. Alright, what questions do you
have? Did they change the coloring? It seemed a lot more vibrant, at least in the first episode. I don't know if it's the coloring or the wardrobe. It's just really bright, really bright blues, bright yellows.
A whole lot of this one particular serial was shot out of doors, which meant they used film rather than the videotape for the indoor sets.
It looked different.
Right, and that's the film. The only indoor sets would have been back at the base originally. the pub, the Squire's house.
Those scenes did seem more muted.
Right. The dig, the archaeological dig. Everything else was outside, which would have been shot on film. Hence the vibrancy and the colors, such as the car chase with the helicopter.
Why is it that they shoot film outside and video indoors?
Because the video cameras that shot on tape could not be brought out of doors. You had to have a 70 or 35 millimeter video camera.
Oh. So it's just for sets?
Right, the videotapes were inside. The tape was much less expensive than the film, not only because in general it was less expensive, but also because it could be recycled, which is why they wiped a bunch of the old Who to recycle for more modern programs before VCRs came around.
Widely available technology.
Right. But the film was used universally, which is why we have some episodes, because even after they were shot on videotape, they were later filmed with a film camera pointed at TV showing the videotape for worldwide distribution, because film is universal, whereas different tape formats were not. Okay, what else?
Do you want to talk about the BBC Three that no longer exists but was...
Okay, yeah, they talk about... Okay, the reporter was from BBC Three, but BBC Three no longer exists. They shut it down some years ago. I think they may have taken it online. I don't know, but it does not exist as a broadcast form, and it may not exist at all any longer.
Wasn't that like their news station though? The British.
Well, no. BBC One's the main, and there's 2 and 3 and 4. I think 1, 2, and 4 still exist, but 3 is gone.
Why would they shut down 3 and keep 4?
Because I think they were specialized in certain programs, and the programs of 3 were no longer required.
So similar to how we have like ESPN, ESPN2, ESPN3.
And the Ocho. It's almost a sport. It's on the Ocho. Alright, for a second. You keep talking. I'm going to use the restroom.
Okay.
Just, kind of have to. You went to the restroom. I'm in the restroom.
Like 3 times.
So yeah. You went to the restroom like forever.
I have resolved to start drinking stronger alcohol because I'm drinking Twisted Tea, which is like 10 proof, 5% alcohol by volume. And I'm kind of, I'm trying to gauge myself, and it's like, I'm not really feeling tipsy. I'm not really feeling like great, so I'll drink more. So I'll get into, this is drunk Doctor Who, so I'm trying to get into that drunk mindset. So I'll adjust my imbibement to try to hit that level of tipsy or whatever. But when you're drinking such a low proof alcohol, which I don't know, maybe my tolerance has gone up. Usually, that's about all it takes. Maybe that's 20 proof, because I'll drink like Red's Apple Ales. Anyway, I was not really hitting that point, so I just kept drinking more and more. But it's a lot by volume, so it's yay amount of alcohol, and my bladder is only yay big, so I had to drink yay much to get yay. And I was also drinking water alongside it, just to stay hydrated. I hear you're supposed to drink, for every 1 cup of alcohol, you drink 2 cups of water to stay hydrated or something. I was kind of drinking 1 for 1, like a glass of Twisted Tea and a glass of water. Anyway, 5 episodes later, and about an hour into the podcast, I still feel pretty sober, and my bladder's still pretty full. There's also, what do you call it? That brain chemical. There's a scientific explanation to when you drink alcohol. Your ADH. I have a friend who's a nurse, and she explained it to me. Every time she'd have like a glass of wine, and she'd go on her nerd tangent and talk medical, and she'd be like, my ADH is inhibited and have to go to the bathroom. It's like, oh, you nerd. But apparently when you drink alcohol, since alcohol is basically poison, your brain goes, I don't need this, flush it out, and it inhibits your ADH hormone, which keeps you from, needing to go to the bathroom all the time. So when you're drinking alcohol, it's like, don't process that, don't, absorb all the calories and stuff, just flush that out. And then, as the Irish say, once you piss once, you'll be pissing all night.
I don't know if it's an Irish saying.
I heard it from an Irishman.
Well, it doesn't mean it's an Irish saying, but okay.
At least one Irish says.
Okay, so, my favorite Irish saying is, top of the morning to you.
Top of the morning to you, laddie.
And you know what the response to that is?
Bottom of the evening.
And the rest of the day to you, sir.
If I don't see you again, good evening and good night.
Okay, we're doing that? We're doing the Truman Show?
The Truman Show.
But no.
Good
top
evening,
of the
good
morning.
Good night.
Right. Top of the morning to you. And the rest of the day to you, sir.
Rest of the day to you.
Alright. You talked about your small bladder while I was in there?
Well, I was talking about how I drink weak alcohol, so I have to drink more to...
So you're going to step up to actual
I'm just going to start drinking harder alcohol, so I don't...
The mopping bucket is right there.
So to the back. Well, that's the problem, is that, I still feel pretty sober. Because this Twisted Tea is like...
I give you some snobs.
That's okay.
It's only 60 proof, but...
At this point, I gotta start thinking about driving home.
True.
Okay.
But next week.
Next week.
Hey.
Next week I'll just bring some oil fire.
Oil fire's good, I like that.
So good.
Okay, so what's the next question?
So, we talked about BBC 3.
Right.
Colors. Talked about Scooby-Doo. The Master. Let's talk about the nature of the occult and how the Doctor and Miss Hawthorne have this argument of no, it's sorcery, and no, it's science, no, it's sorcery, no, it's science. Isn't that the same thing though? Like any science of a nature that's not able to be comprehended is viewed as sorcery, like
right. It's the Isaac Asimov principle that any sufficiently advanced technology is indistinguishable from magic.
Yeah.
So if I were to take my cell phone to 1880 and show them all the information and everything on there, they would call it magic because it's not understandable to them, right?
Yeah. They'd probably burn you at the stake.
Right. So the point is that what Miss Hawthorne believes to be magic,
supernatural,
right, white witch or black witch or whatever, dark arts or light arts, is simply to the Doctor technology, because this is an alien race
has a
and it's what they take, right? Scientific, and that is foreshadowed at the beginning when Joe is talking about sorcery and magic and Age of Aquarius and all that, and the Doctor shows her the trick with the Bessie, but it's all science.
But my point is, isn't that like a petty argument to have of, what do you call this unexplainable phenomenon? And she goes, I know it as sorcery. And he goes, no, it's magic. It's like arguing with a caveman who's like,
he's trying to
understand why.
Throughout the entire serial, he's trying to enlighten Jo and make a scientist out of her. And that's a
good point.
That's an overarching thread throughout him and Jo's tenure, and which lasts 2 more seasons. And he's trying to get Jo to be more of a scientist because she's working with him, and he's a scientist. And she replaced a scientist in the previous companion
assistant.
Yeah, and he's trying to teach her the difference between some of her superstitious beliefs and actual science.
He says things like, we'll make a scientist of you yet.
Several times, yeah. And finally, you're thinking logically, Jo. Yeah.
Planet Deimos is full of Daemons. Except this... Azel was the last Deimos?
The last of the Daemons.
But they come back. So it wasn't the last. Maybe they go back to a previous point in time.
I don't know. I need to watch it.
My theory is that... my thought is that sounds terrifying. A planet full of giant cloven hoof demons with unimaginable power of psionic energy fields and.
Okay, so if you were a rabbit on a planet of rabbits,
yes,
and human beings showed up,
yeah,
you would consider them 30-foot giants that had magic at their disposal because they had weapons.
Yeah,
same scenario, right?
Poor rabbits.
Poor rabbits. Watership down. Ugh. So,
but as a person on the top of the food chain, I don't want to be a rabbit. That's a scary thought.
Have you ever read Watership Down?
Mm-mm.
Have you seen the movie?
I don't know how to read.
Have you seen the movie?
No. Do I need to put that on the list? Or do I have to read the book first? Does that not be a while?
Okay.
Tentatively?
It's a children's movie, but it is dark as hell.
Dark children's movie.
Right.
Princess Mononoke.
I haven't seen it.
It's a Studio Ghibli film, like
Oh yeah, I know.
Totoro.
I know of it.
And then they made it, and then Yamamoto. No, what's his name?
I don't know. The director.
Ghibli, yeah.
Yeah. No, I know.
He goes, this is really dark. We can't put this out. And he's like, wait, no, that's why we have to put it out. It's children's. You can see dark things.
Yeah. To be fair, all the Brothers Grimm stories were dark children's
Terrifying.
stories.
Ariel's tongue gets cut out.
Right. Well, she walks on glass. At the end, she gives up her life and turns into sea foam in order to save her prince.
I prefer the Disney version.
No, God, no. I prefer the real version.
I like happy endings. I used to, growing up, I'm like, it's such a boring trope. The good guy always wins, and they give you this goody ending, and then I saw a few movies with bad endings, and I'm like, now I know why. Now I know why they give the good endings.
That's why I like Infinity War. That's why I stop with Infinity War. Let the bad guy win every once in a while.
Gotta see the end game.
No. Never will. I don't want the I am woman, hear me roar moment when people on the opposite sides of the battlefield and the opposite sides of the universe all have to come together because they're every woman in the MCU and go, we will save you, little man. No.
No one likes like a Mary Sue, all-powerful, zero character arc or development, no struggles.
Even Superman had character development.
Yeah, it's like Alien. That's an awesome female protagonist, Sarah Connor, because they're convincing.
Right, Terminator, Sarah Connor, Ripley, and Aliens. Yeah.
Because courage isn't the lack of fear; it's the ability to charge in and do the right thing, despite of the fears. So,
even the Mockingjay, what's her name in Hunger Games?
Katniss.
Yeah, Katniss Everdeen. I was rooting for her the whole friggin' time.
You have to have struggles to have and don't get me wrong, it's not just the Mary Sues, it's like men characters had the same problem back in the day of, I'm gonna win and I'm the hero because I'm the main character, and then they came out with Die Hard and you saw the main character, the action hero, struggle and bleed and walk on glass and he got his cut foot, and it made him so much more relatable, and you're like, wow, he's awesome because he's just charging through all this pain and
but
he gets beat up and he just keeps going.
To be fair, a lot of those, maybe not in the 30s, did Superman have a character arc in the comics. I don't know, I haven't read those. But in the movies, he had a character arc.
Yeah. He has a weakness.
He has a weakness, he has a character arc, he develops. That's the whole thing. The Mary Sues don't have to develop. They show up and they're immediately amazing.
And then you have, all of a sudden, Sylvanas from World of Warcraft and this Captain Marvel who just shows up and
is amazing.
Puts all the other people in their place, and new Star Wars films where, I'm the best.
Yeah.
And no character development, no convincing character traits, no struggles, no relatability.
Alright. So what's the next question?
Deimos sounds terrifying.
Well, the planet Daemons doesn't have any Daemons on it.
They also explained Atlantis was a project of the Daemons.
Yeah, remember Atlantis
failed. It failed, so they wiped out their previous experiment.
Mm-hmm.
You think that's something we might return to? And why do you think Atlantis failed?
Complacency?
Cool. Haven't we been to Atlantis?
We have.
The Doctor Who...
The second Doctor went to Atlantis, yeah.
I guess they failed. Then the Daemons wiped them out.
Yeah.
We talked about Osgood's daughter.
Well, I think
possibly.
I think she's possibly Osgood's daughter. I need to double check the names. I think she's Osgood. I think he's Osgood. I think she's either his daughter or at least an homage to the original series. But there's no real way to know that without asking the people who wrote her as Osgood. Or in theory, it could just be a coincidence. I don't know. But I made that connection tonight, and it seemed important.
Must have been a miracle birth, because Osgood is obviously a virgin.
No. Okay. Let me explain to you. There's somebody for everybody out there. Even nerds, and we're nerds.
But
it's
with
fine.
So many billion people, the odds of you finding that person are pretty slim.
Yeah. If I can quote LA Story. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
LA Story?
There's somebody out there for everybody. Even if you need a pickaxe, night goggles, and a light to find them.
If I can quote California Girls, there's 2 girls for every guy by the Beach Boys.
Yes. 2 girls for every boy.
Yeah.
Alright, is LA Story on the list?
Probably not.
Put an LA Story on the list. Oh my god.
Is that a musical?
No. But it's good anyway.
Los Angeles. What's the full name of Los Angeles?
Los Angeles. City of Angels. Or of the Angels.
Los Angeles is like short for something really long.
No, Los Angeles. But the movie's called LA Story.
LA Story.
Steve Martin, Richard E. Grant, who plays, like I said earlier, the particular, the doctor, and then the doctor, and then he's not the doctor, but he comes back as great intelligence. And, what's her face? From Sex and the City. Can't think of her name.
With the Sarah Jessica Parker.
Sarah Jessica Parker, yeah, she's in it. She plays kind of she plays a distraction for Steve Martin. Well, his real love interest is the British woman, who is amazing. She is fantastic. I really like the British woman in that.
So, during the May Day festival celebration dance, we have the cult which capture the doctor. They tie him up. They think he's a witch or a wizard, so they're gonna burn him at the stake. Mm-hmm. And then the actual witch, Hawthorne, comes and says not to burn him, because he is a wizard, which is they already thought he was a wizard. They already thought he was a wizard, which is why they were going to burn him in the first place. But
he's more powerful than the master. Mm-hmm. And this is the excuse she gives, even though the doctor, he runs with it to save his life, and then he sheds it as soon as possible in order to go get the master.
But they come out at first with a really clever plan where obviously Hawthorne and Benton discuss, well, put the silencer on the pistol, I'm going to ask him to break the light bulb, you shoot it, they'll think he's a wizard. So she goes out.
And then and then he shoots the weatherman.
Well, that's my problem, because obviously she forced the opinion that we'll break that light bulb and then you'll prove that you're a wizard. And you're like, okay, light bulb I command you to break, and then Benton shoots it. That's something they pre-discussed. And then, what's his face, the old guy, when Stanley goes, do it again. I don't believe you. He's like, okay, I'll do it again. And then the doctor picks out the object, the wind detector on top of it. How would Benton know to shoot? Can he hear? He's really far away.
Well, he could possibly hear, and he could possibly see what they were looking at.
But then, I guess that was my only problem with it.
Okay.
I just thought there was a plot hole to where, like, because the doctor goes, okay, I will move, and he looks at Hawthorne. He goes, "The weathercock," and she goes,
"Yeah, weathercock."
So you just guess what they had pre-planned.
Well, no, he didn't guess what she had pre-planned. He just said, "Can this be done?" She's like, "It can be done." So apparently Ben could hear them because they were in the square, and the pub was right off the square. You know.
I guess. Okay. I'm convinced. All right, my last plot hole, I think, that I like to address is we have the Daemons, these super scientifically advanced alien species who have
They look like Pan, yeah.
Guiding along Pan's Labyrinth.
Well, yeah, Pipes of Pan, the
satyrs.
Yeah.
They've been sort of guiding humanity along as an experiment. And they set up the city of Atlantis, this prehistoric, highly advanced civilization, and it failed, so they wiped it out. Anyway, they've been there for 10,000 years, 100,000 years.
The figure given.
So they have obviously a comprehensive understanding of mankind as they've been leading them along, and then for some reason. They're having this conversation of I'm the last Daemon. I have to either destroy humanity as a failed experiment or pass on my power for someone to rule.
Correct.
And then the doctor's like, no, just go away. And the Daemon goes, you're irrational. So you are a waste. I will destroy you. And then Joe does something irrational,
Correct.
which obviously he has... some comprehension of.
Creates a negative feedback loop.
He has obviously has an understanding of humans being irrational, but for some reason he had never experienced a self-sacrificial act. Correct. And then all of a sudden he just implodes on himself.
Well, I mean, picture him coming back when Jesus Christ was on the cross.
Yeah.
I mean, that would have blown him up 8 days of Sunday,
But give them for they know not what they do. He'd be like, does not compute.
Right, and it doesn't work for him, but so he self-implodes.
Maybe that's why there is an eclipse or something. I don't understand.
I described this while you were gone. So he self-implodes, and everything ends really quickly. Like there could have been a 6th episode, but it just all ends ba-boom.
Yeah, so he's what was causing the gargoyle to be alive, and the heat barrier, and
all that. When he's gone, it's all done.
This is all good. It's like the Star Wars, they blow up the command ship and all the droids shut down, so they don't have to worry about the droids anymore.
Yeah.
Well, that's convenient.
Yeah. Okay, any other questions?
That's about it.
Alright. Okay, so I've been watching and catching up on our old episodes.
Yeah.
And we keep talking about rating these episodes from the 2nd Doctor.
Yes.
And we haven't done it. So...
Is this just the first season of Troughton? Or like all of Troughton?
So I have the whiteboard. Okay, so season 4, the stuff from Troughton.
I'll be Vanna White.
Okay, so not including the 2 serials from
the season 3.
Heart Now. This is the stuff from season 4 from Troughton.
Because we've already gone over.
We've already done that with Heart Now. We include that in his season 3 stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So we had the Power of the Daleks. The Highlanders, where we got Jamie, the Underwater Menace, the Macroterra, the Faceless Ones, and the Evil of Daleks. So we have 2 Dalek stories, and Highlanders was historical, Underwater Menace sci-fi, which has been animated. No wait, yeah. Macroterra, which has been animated. Faceless Ones, which will be out soon, animated.
Cool.
Out soon. Wait, is it? Hold on. Do I have that one now? There's one that came out really recently. I can't remember if it was Macroterra Faceless Ones. Yeah, this one came out, and this one's about to come out. And the Evil of Daleks. So what do you like or not like from the season? Because we need to catch up. We just finished season 8.
Yes.
And this is season 4. So if we do this once a week, we'll catch up probably around the end of the 9th season.
Mm-hmm. All right. So
So what do you like?
Out of 6 serials, 2 of which are the Daleks.
Mm-hmm.
Historically, the Daleks have kind of won the best overall serial.
Except for the 10th Planet, which was the season 3.
That was the Cybermen.
Right.
Did we
Daleks, Cybermen.
Do we have Daleks in season 3 though?
Not as much.
That's
no.
what the Cybermen were.
Well, that is a really good serial. Which was technically season 4, but we included it with season 3 because of the first Doctor.
10th Planet was cool. So we have the Highlanders, which is where we get Jamie
McCrimmon,
which is awesome.
Right. Although a lot, this is reconstructed.
This is reconstructed, so it's a little difficult to follow.
Currently reconstructed,
a lot of action.
Animated. I think existing.
We have the Faceless Ones, which set up a recurring villain of the. Does it? That's the airport.
That's the airplane one.
Oh, is that?
They never come back.
Remind me what the Faceless one is.
Right, that was the airplane one where they go up and they're trying to get.
I'm thinking of the Plastic Men who were
Autons.
The Autons, but the Faceless Ones weren't the Autons, but they were like originally written to be the Autons, but then it got pushed off.
No,
because they're talking about how the Faceless Ones was supposed to take place in the mall. And it was supposed to be about mannequins coming to life. And then they rewrote the episode to take place in the airport. And then later on, the Autons showed up, which I feel like was the recycling of the original script of the mannequins coming to life.
Yeah, but it wasn't the face.
It wasn't the Autons.
That's a different race.
But I get confused because I think it was originally supposed to be the Autons, but they got rewritten. Because it's a reconstruction, so in the very first episode, the reconstructions, they do this.
So which one would you eliminate out of this completely? I think this is where we got Victoria.
Mm-hmm.
This is the one with currently reconstructed. Yeah, it's not animated yet. Wait, this was animated. This is animated. This is animated. That one's reconstructed. That one's reconstructed. Soon to be animated. That one's reconstructed. There's not a lot of these actually there. But what would you eliminate initially? That's where we got Victoria. That's where we got Jamie.
They're all really memorable, so I'm trying to. Usually I just pick the one that's least memorable to me. And it's a really hard decision this season. What about you? I'll let you go first. Because we have the Macra Terror, which had this giant costumed crab, which actually got the set designer fired because he made that thing.
Well, it's the company that made those.
They thought it was so terrible and unwieldy, and they're like.
To be fair, the Macra show up in the current revival.
Oh, they come back.
They do eventually.
So that was a lot of fun. We have the Underwater Menace, which had just a wonderful wardrobe of. And the starfish.
Highlanders, historical. We get Jamie. That's the best part of it. Is we get Jamie.
It's the best part of it. It was a reconstruction, so it's. I think maybe the Highlanders would be the one I would vote off first.
It's probably why it hasn't been animated as of yet.
But it's really good. It's maybe just the least good out of.
They're all pretty good. Okay, I would go with probably. Oh man, the Faceless Ones.
Yeah, the Faceless Ones were really good, but it was it felt a little stretched out.
Well, they're sitting in the airport half the time.
It's the same set. It's pretty convoluted.
And there's that girl that might have been a companion, but she turned it down.
Yeah.
Okay, so.
Which, I mean, thankfully, I didn't really like her either. Yeah, I definitely compromised with the Faceless Ones being the least.
Alright, so there we go. Alright, so alright, so we still have the Evil of Daleks, which is really good, where we get Victoria.
Let's talk about what happened during the duo of these 2 Daleks episodes.
Well, Power of the Daleks is the one where they were replicating themselves.
That one's cool. They make a whole assembly line
of Daleks on that deal. And there's that episode that ends where the Doctor's riding the Dalek and they're playing train.
Which he marks them. What does he name them? Alpha and Omega.
And Gamma. Yeah. And he's riding the train with the Daleks, and the episode does not end on a cliffhanger so much as on the fact that the Dalek was doing something fun. Yeah, that was awesome.
Probably the only time you'll ever see a Dalek having fun.
Yeah, exactly. Like
which I'd argue they're probably having fun when they're exterminating people.
But the Underwater Menace is really good. Macroterra, okay. Evil of Daleks, good. And that's the one where they go to the planet. And there's all that. Okay.
Skaro. Which planet do they go? Is this Skaro?
They go to somewhere. And the Daleks are there. And that's the one where the guy's trying to, the father's trying to
transmutation.
Transmutation and the Daleks to help him with all that. And it starts out in the airport of the Faceless Ones and then goes to that shop and then goes to Victorian England.
And then she has like the guy's daughter who becomes the companion.
Victoria, yeah.
She's like, my dad was evil.
Wow. What would you eliminate next? Macroterra. It's
between... Oh, man. I didn't think the Daleks would win again, but now I was just not a fan of the Underwater Menace sets and wardrobes. They're both unique and cool. I really like the sets. And I really hated the wardrobes.
The charcoal lips and when they ate charcoal and their teeth were black.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool.
Both of these,
I'd probably vote off the Macroterra.
Both of these suffer from the animation.
Mm-hmm. Even though the Macroterra
this was animated and this one
original and
I don't think
fun.
It's yet to be animated.
It also probably had a bad set design, but that's also because they were facing like budgetary issues at the time.
Not as much as of yet.
It's the next season that they were.
Later on. Next Doctor, especially. Okay, so no to the Underwater Menace and the Macroterra?
I guess. Yeah.
Okay, so, alright, we are left with...
2 Daleks.
2 Dalek stories. Alright, do you prefer the one in Victorian England that they go there from the shop with the guy who's selling brand new antiques and experience Victoria, or do you prefer the one here, the Power of the Daleks, where they're on the space station and they convince the guy that they're good, I am your servant, but they're creating an assembly line.
Need more power.
Right, but they're creating that assembly line and everything.
I think out of the two, my personal preference would be the Power of the Daleks, because it was so unique and different, and there's like these undergoing plots and like sabotage and machinations, and the Doctor shows up and he's putting on his character role and he's like, I'm the inspector, and then he's like doing his thing where he bluffs his way in.
Right. And there's, in the modern stuff, in the current revival, there's a deal where the Daleks are made as soldiers and they come with, I am your soldier, and it's a direct callback to I am your servant. Yeah. Alright, so we're going to go with the Power of the Daleks.
The Evil of the Daleks was cool, but just, I don't know, that one scene where they had the whole assembly line of Daleks self-replicating
coming out.
And they're doing like the Dalek sludge babies.
Right, even though it was animated, really awesome.
It's so cool.
So write it down in your notes that this was the winner for season 4. Next week we will do season 5 and then season 6. And then the week after, we will do the grand winner for the 2nd Doctor.
Oh.
And then we'll work into the 3rd Doctor with seasons 7, 8, and 9. At least till we catch up to the season number. But yeah, Power of the Daleks is really, really good. Really, really fun. And I'm glad we're finally catching up on this because we were too drunk to do it at certain weeks.
This is fun.
Exactly. Alright. Okay.
I had a dream we were doing the podcast and we got really drunk and then we came in, we pressed record, and immediately we just fell asleep and just and then, like, you pulled out a blanket.
Okay, I can see that. That'd be a great podcast.
It's just like an hour
put it up
long
like a
episode of us
2 hours of us being
asleep on the couch.
You know what? I would leave that up. I would put that up.
Footage of us snoring.
And if that's the way it goes, that's the way it goes.
Maybe we're live streaming. People are reading comments. I just realized that I thought this was the movie list, so I added the movies onto it, but this was the companion list. So now it goes, Brigadier, Sergeant Benton, Citizen Kane. He's a companion.
Okay, move that to a movie list.
I have to move it to the movie list. I was putting the movies on the companion list because I thought it was the movie. I'm like, here's a list of names. That's probably the movie
switch
list.
it to the movie list.
I'll fix that.
Okay. Anyway, anything else?
Anything else? No more questions.
Okay. So next week, if we don't decide to do the heroes and villains, which we might, but hopefully we will be doing season 9, Day of the Daleks, because can't have enough Daleks. Mm-hmm. Day of the Daleks.
The Daleks are back. They've been gone for a while. When's the last Dalek episode we had?
End of. Well, no.
Was that Day of the Daleks?
Next time should be Day of the Daleks.
How many episodes is that?
Well, the last Dalek thing was the invasion. And that was Cybermen, wasn't it? Let's see. Oh my god, season 5 is going to be hard to pick a winner. There's
season 4 was hard.
There's going to be 2 series. The Evil of the Daleks was the last Dalek one. Yeah. And that one was mostly reconstruction. It'll be animated. But no, okay.
This is going to be our first Pertwee Dalek.
Yeah, it'll be our first Pertwee Dalek one. Okay, but with season 5, you have to choose between.
Although the Daleks was referenced with Pertwee as one of his greatest fears when what was that machine called? Inferno?
Yeah.
During Inferno.
Okay, but season 5, we're going to choose between the Tomb of the Cybermen, which is absolutely amazingly iconic.
Mm-hmm. I remember that, and they're coming out of the
and the
birthing pods, the hibernation
enemy
pods.
of the world. Ooh. There's also the Ice Warriors and Web of Fear. The others are okay.
Web of Fear was cool.
Well, yeah, but I mean, those are all like
that's
super iconic.
The Brigadier back, right? He's a Web of Fear.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of iconic.
That's the first one was actually the Brigadier.
Yeah.
And the other one was not
promoted. Was he Sergeant and Brigadier?
Lieutenant Colonel, I think, or something like that. All right. Have fun, guys. I don't know when this will get up because I have to figure out the software on the new computer.
Yeah.
Maybe buy software. There's some software that came with the Blu-ray drive I have.
Awesome.
But it was a rental. I don't want to rent. I want to purchase and own. I hate the rental stuff. But anyway, I'll get it figured out. We'll get this up, and hopefully we'll see you next week. And depending on how long this takes to get up, maybe sooner. Yeah. All right.
We'll see you soon. Thanks for joining us.
Yeah, goodbye.
Are you running Windows 10?
Of course.
Home? 64-bit?
Of course, yeah, 64-bit, yeah.